Hello, so we have got here the Formula 1 2012 demo. For those of you who have played 2011, the first thing you're going to notice difference is the menus. Gone is the sort of paddock setting that they had before, and it's come to more of this simplistic, easier to navigate menu. I'm assuming when the full game comes that you're going to have the car in the showroom as whatever you're driving in the career. In the options, they've also gone to these sort of like picture things with Schumacher there in the gravel. Again, I think it's all an improvement over the last game. It's all easier to navigate around. Now, one of the big new sort of features to the game is the young driver test. This acts as sort of like a training mode for people who aren't used to racing games or Formula 1 games or whatever, and it gives you sort of simple tasks. For example, here you're going around a hairpin, and you've got to sort of hit the apex and then hit the markers, and then you've got to do a braking test at the end. It all works fairly well. It's all fairly easy to understand, and for those of you who are new to the games and this sort of thing, it will be a good way of getting you, sort of breaking you in gently rather than just dumping you in a Formula 1 car. Quite how many of these tests are compulsory in the full game, I'm not sure, although it could get annoying if for people who are experienced at racing games have to keep doing repeats of sort of easy stuff that they already know. The biggest change in the game is probably the car handling model. Even if you've driven in the 2011 games, these cars handle quite a lot differently. Some people have been saying that it's sort of a bit more arcadey, but I'm not really sure on that. I think it's more tricky to drive than they were. They're harder to get used to. I am using a wheel, so I'm not sure quite how this stuff affects the controller. But on a wheel, the cars are certainly a lot harder to get used to driving. I've also been finding that in a straight line they are a bit twitchy, making small movements on the steering wheel and that sort of thing. It kind of ends up in a bigger effect. I've kind of made that corner a bit rubbishly. But yeah, all in all though, once you get used to it, it isn't too bad. There is, I think, slightly more grip, but the game is an awful lot less forgiving. If you get it wrong, if you brake a little bit too late, you tend to go off quite a long way, as I kind of do here. Miss your braking point by a tiny bit and you go off miles off the track, which is a little bit annoying, but it's a bit of a challenge. Which again, in real life these cars are challenging, and one of the biggest problems I was finding is sort of understeer. Like here, I slowed down quite a lot for the corner. I'm going slow enough, I think I can make the corner, but I turn in and it just sort of understeers off the track. Now, I'm not sure if that's me, if that's my wheel, or whether I'm just not driving well enough. And you know, it's something to get used to. When we drive in the wet as well, I'm not really sure about the weather effects in Formula 1. The previous games I've never been particularly pleased with them. There never seems to be that much of a difference between wet and dry, and on this one it's a bit better, although when I'm on the brakes, as you can see here, you kind of brake from the same point as you would in the dry. I'm not really sure how realistic that is. I was led to believe that, you know, you brake a Formula 1 car, you're going to have to brake earlier in the wet than you do in the dry and that sort of thing. But on here, it seems to be about the same. Although in some of these corners, as you'll see as I come up to here, you kind of get it slowed down, but there is a lot more sort of understeer and a lot less grip, which I think is better than it's been in the previous games. Although I'm going to wait to see how sort of the different tyres affect. Because in the last few games, you could go an awful long way on dry tyres before you need to go to wet, that I didn't really agree with. But we have to see how that goes when the full games come out. And I missed the corner there completely. And that was a wall there. It wasn't very good.
Let's see which of our
now, into the other mode that we have in the demo, it's the challenge mode. And this is more of a straightforward race. And the biggest concern for me, really, is the AI difficulty. I hadn't really driven Monza that much. This was only my second attempt at qualifying, and I managed to get my car on pole. And this is a Williams, it's against McLarens and Ferraris. It shouldn't really be on pole. And I had the AI on the hardest of difficulty settings. I've also never tried to launch a car without traction control then. Somehow I managed to get a fairly good start as well. Into the first corner, and I was a bit sort of cowardly on the brakes. The AI does seem to be fairly good with its racing. It's not as aggressive and sort of dangerous as it was before. It seems to sort of do a better job of driving, well, properly, if you like. But then I kind of easily get past from McLaren, and there's another one here. So yeah, I'm not sure. The AI does seem rather easy on this game, but you know, the things might change before the final game is released. Having said all of that, it is looking very promising that F1 2012 is going to be a very good game. Once you get used to the cars, they are very good fun to drive, and they are a challenge. Even if you drive with traction control on full, they are still going to slide about a bit. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this game, looking forward to all the online stuff. So yeah, if you haven't tried the demo out, it's out on the marketplace, and I believe the full game comes out on the 21st of September. I completely missed that corner, but anyway, until next time, goodbye.